Hey y'all, welcome to episode 2 of our series where we will be field stripping and maintaining some simple weapons. Today we are going to work on the Ruger SR22. We're going to tear it down. You're going to see how simple that is. We're going to do a quick inspection to make sure it's clean, and then we're going to reassemble. So while we're working with our firearms, you've got to remember the 5 weapon safety rules. Treat every weapon as if it were loaded. Never point the weapon at anything you don't intend to shoot. Keep your finger straight off the trigger until you're ready to fire. Keep the weapon on safe until you intend to fire, and always know your target and what lies beyond. If you consciously make an effort to follow these 5 weapon safety rules while you're doing either maintenance or shooting, you will be able to fire safely and efficiently. Occasionally, while doing maintenance, you're going to have to take the weapon off of safe once in a great while when it's disassembled. You're going to see that throughout these videos. But as a rule of thumb, in general, as an umbrella statement, those 5 weapon safety rules are what we're going to follow here. This video is for educational purposes only. It is not meant to instruct or advise anybody on anything, including techniques or opinions. If your firearm is having a problem that you feel you cannot handle, please seek a professional gunsmith. Safety is of utmost importance. The creator of this video accepts no liability for anything anybody may do that is not in accordance with the hands-off approach for anybody watching this video. Thank you. Now let's get started with the SR22. So here we go, working on the SR22. So this is a fun little piece by Ruger. I can't say too much about it. It's dead simple. This is probably the most simple weapon we are going to field strip in this series. So just like all weapons, treat every weapon as if it were loaded, keeping your finger off the trigger and all that. Eject the magazine. Now you can see I had no rounds in the magazine, but nonetheless, we're not going to trust that. We're going to go ahead and rack the slide back, and we're going to lock it in place. We're going to go ahead and look down the barrel. We can see that there's nothing there. We're going to look down the magazine. Well, nothing there. We know we're good. Okay, so to take this apart is really easy. Super, super easy. Right now, we have the slide locked to the rear, just like we want it. That's it, okay? So I'm going to use this tool. Now, real G's know what this tool is. If you know, leave in the comments down below. But this is a great tool. I have a couple of them I use. Now, with the Ruger 22, the SR22, you got right here under the trigger guard, you have the slide locking mechanism. That locks the slide in place. So now just move that up as far as it will go, and that's about it. It's not going to flop all the way open. Once you're there, take a hold of the slide, okay? Unlock it here, push it all the way back, and then pop up. See how that popped up? And then it's going to pop out like that and just slides right off. Your buffer spring comes out, boom. That's it. The barrel is part of the frame. So when we'll go to do the barrel, you're not going to pull it off or anything. This is as far as you'll ever need to go for a field strip. Now, all my weapons are pretty clean, but I'll run a ramrod through it a couple times. I got my 22 caliber there. Run it through. Go ahead and look down. Look at the light through there. Okay, looks good. Okay, nothing big there. I'm looking, inspecting, looking for carbon and dust. I've got carbon on my fingers because I've been dealing with guns all day anyway. There's a little bit in there, a little bit of dust. Let's break it loose. Break that loose real quick. Maybe see if I got any other special things here to work. Okay, I did not spit on that. I blew through it, but it made a weird noise. Okay, you make sure everything's good. The frame here, this part of the frame is really polymer. There's not really too much there. Now, cleaning it, you're going to want to clean that down in the magazine well. You're going to want to make sure your ramp is clean, your barrel is clean. On the slide, you're going to want to make sure that everything through here is clean. Simple enough, right? I mean, this is just dead simple. It's one of the most simple firearms you're gonna use and look at. Okay, so here we go. The buffer spring. Now, if the spring comes off of the buffer, something to know is that there's kind of a taper to it. You got a smaller end and then you got a more expanded spring end. The smaller end goes back on the buffer rod, with the larger one sticking out. This is the one that goes forward. So you keep that in mind as you go to, if you go to put this together and you're trying to kind of figure it out, all right? So pay attention for that. Okay, so cleaning, I mean, is really simple. You want to make sure you clean all around. Lock that back. You want to make sure you get in here. Carbon loves to hide in there. Um, Also dust. Just by storing it in the gun cabinet, you might get a little dust on it. The dust likes to collect in those little nooks and crannies, especially if you're lubricating your firearm. You should be lubricating it both before and after you go to the range. So you clean it, you're going to put a little bit of lube and preservative on there. And then before you go, you're going to just make sure you lube it up again. Make sure that there's no like dust or dirt, major debris on there. This is small enough, it could be a pocket gun. So if you do carry it as such, I would not recommend that. But if you did, you know, you want to check for lint fairly often and clean it up really well. It should always be properly holstered. I mean, always treat a weapon like it's loaded. You know what I mean? So if it's loaded, it should be in a holster for safety's sake. So let's go ahead and reassemble this thing. So I'm going to open up my CLP. I'm just going to put just a tiny bit. Last video, video number 1, I used a lot more CLP than I needed to on that other one. See, just little tiny, little tiny drops. That's all you really need. I'm going to put just a little bit on this spring here, just to help preserve and keep rust from building up. I'm going to put one little drop right there. Okay, and then I'm going to go here, and I'm going to open up, and I'm just going to put 2 little drops right there. I mean, that is more than enough. And I'm going to put one little tiny drop on the spring, and I kind of spread it through there, okay? So now to reassemble. You'll notice that I put it in fire, and I pulled the hammer back. That's going to make assembling this thing a lot easier. So the first thing you do is you put the buffer rod with the smaller end of the spring in there. The smaller goes inside, okay? That's the way it's designed. Now with the slide, it's got a little recess right there for your bigger spring. If you put that spring on backwards, you're going to notice that little end comes right out that hole, and you're going to be just, yeah, not having a very good day. So make sure the bigger end of the spring is outside to catch the slide. You put it in at an angle and push that barrel through the end of the slide, right? But then you got to have the hammer back so it's out of the way. That's why I have it in fire and have it cocked. Then you're going to pull this all the way back and push down, keeping pressure, and then lock it back into place like so. Lock that back into place. And that's it. Okay? And then decocker, boom, you're all set. The Ruger has been completely disassembled, well, field stripped, touched the finer points on cleaning, lubricated, and now it's reassembled and ready to go. When you're working with firearms, safety is paramount. But as far as the Ruger SR22, thank you to Ruger for making such a simple yet effective and fun little firearm to shoot. So if you guys have any questions, you know, go ahead and leave them down in the comment below. Go ahead and subscribe and like if you haven't already. And hopefully we see you on episode 3, where we go over the Cobra 380 Auto.